Of all the things you've done in footy, how proud were you of the run-down tackle? Or the run-down, the chase, not necessarily a tackle, but the pressure you put on at that moment?
Yeah, it's an interesting way to start, to be honest. I wasn't expecting that. To be honest, hopefully it's the norm now. I think as a defender, I actually made it a bit harder for myself than I should have. I sort of let him go aside and he got on the end of it. And, I probably made it look a bit better than I should have done in the first place. So, to be honest, it's not much more than a run-down, tackle, defensive sort of act for me. And, that's all it is.
When did you realise, I reckon I can catch him? Because you're in the centre square and you had to run a long way. He would have been tired, I would imagine, at that point as well. When did you think, I'm actually a chance to get him here?
People know the bloke I am. I'm sort of always think I'm a chance with anything, to be honest. So, when he bounced it, I thought, I could be a sniff here. And I'm a pretty proud person. And like I said, most things I think I'm a chance of winning everything at times. It's a bit unrealistic, but I was hopeful that I was going to get a hold of him.
Felt like that sort of summed up the night. Everyone was prepared to just keep committing and keep pressuring and stuff like that. Was that the real mindset, just no matter what, we're going to put the pressure on?
Yeah, I think we've been a little bit inconsistent with that this year, and pretty well documented throughout last week that we had a players-only chat and the leaders presented a few things. Some players got up, Lukey Ryan, and like I said just before, that I think it's the norm for us, and we need to just bring that week in, week out. It's the standard now. Reality was as well, we probably didn't do it for the full 4 quarters on the weekend, and we're aware of that, and we look forward to going out there this weekend and trying to do it for 4 quarters.
What is that next step to getting it to being for 4 quarters?
Consistency. There was quite a bit of frustration around last week, and it was because everyone cares so much about this club and this team, and at times you can probably be guilty of over-trying to correct things, and sometimes the fixes are a little bit simpler than going over and above. So I think it was a good reminder on the weekend that if we can control the controllables, and that's effort and ability to get after the opposition, then most of the games will look the way we want them to.
And you mentioned that consistency. How does Freo become a more consistent team?
Yeah, obviously we changed a few things last week, and it's part of learning. I suppose we've had a few decent smacks around the years this year with some of our performances, and then the following week or weeks in between we've had some pretty good ones. I still don't think we've played a full 4 quarters on game day yet, and I think that's the challenge. To be able to do that and not get comfortable with being 7 goals in front at 3/4 time or whatever it was. So but then you got to look at it on the other side of the coin too. Adelaide, we're going to throw caution in the wind. They're down by 6 points. They're one of the highest scoring teams in the comp. So I thought we did a pretty good job, to be fair.
There was a lot of talk this time last week about mindset and being maybe too comfortable against Melbourne. Then how do you prevent that from happening again this week after the effort felt a lot better? How do you then keep that momentum going?
You just have to go back to how it feels. We showed a few clips last week of controllable things that I touched on before, which was a little bit of lack of effort, a little bit of a lack of care at times. And to be honest, I was in one of those clips and I never want to see myself one of those ever again. So I don't think I need to look past any more than that to be able to have the motivation to repeat what we did on the weekend.
What was that clip? You don't want to see it again?
Unfortunately, I'm not going to touch on it. If you haven't seen it, it was just the first clip of the game where Cozzy Pickett got in front of me and kicked a goal, and I wasn't physical enough. So, probably, as myself trying to call myself a senior player now, I've got to be better than that. It was one of the first 5 minutes of the game, I think. So, it probably set the tone for the day, and looking back on it was pretty embarrassing.
So now flipping back to what we even started with that chase, does that stuff then get shown in that review then when you win, having had the negative side of things? Does the flip to this was amazing what everyone did here, or this was amazing what everyone did there, does that get shown then to reinforce that this is what winning footy looks like?
It does. But we're in an industry where it's 1 week's not the same as the other week, so we still don't want to overplay our performance on the weekend and give everyone a pat on the back and say everyone was perfect, because the reality was we weren't. And it's footy. No 2 games are the same, and out of the weekend we still had a clip that as a group we weren't happy with, so we walked through it and we talked about it just in the team meeting then and said that this isn't acceptable. So I think that's the growth that's left in this group, and I think that's the maturity that we're starting to get to, is we're able to address those things and we're able to have players get up and hold each other accountable. So I think that's the exciting part.
How much has that changed over the years from being a lot quieter sort of guys, it feels like, with this group, who may not have been comfortable initially doing that sort of stuff? Has that changed a lot, where blokes are now more prepared to speak up and talk in big environments like that and say, this needs to change, we need to do this?
Yeah, definitely has shifted a little bit. I still think we do have some pretty powerful individuals that like to get up and talk in front of the group, but not that it has a lack of punch. But when someone else does it who doesn't talk as often or probably isn't in the leadership group, Luke Ryan is a perfect example. It can pack a fairly decent punch. So he got up last week. He had his turn. But yeah, I think, like I said, it's a massive growth part that it's actually really exciting to be a part of at the moment. I mean, we've got, blokes in their 20th game saying, this is just an example, it didn't happen, but hey, Alex Pearce, that wasn't good enough. We need more from you there. I think it's, a great environment to be around, and we're taking small steps forward. And, I feel such privilege to be around a group of blokes like that at the moment.
The club posted a clip of JL's pre-game G-up. Was that any different or out of the norm for what you get from him, and did you get anything out of that?
No, it's not different. JL is he's a person that's very true to him. He doesn't change week to week. He doesn't just put on a bullshit front for the media or anything like that. JL is JL, and he shows a lot of care for our group. He cares so much about us, and I think it's reciprocated through the players that we care so much about him as a coach. And I feel like what he did pre-game he does most weeks, and I feel like it was, it's easy to say it was really effective on the weekend when we go out and play well, but I think he's holding his end of the bargain up. It's just the playing group that's probably been pretty inconsistent